The thing with lyrics is I feel like you can convey so much through a song that you couldn't do any other way, because it's almost subliminal if you think about it. Because a lot of artists that I like will make political statements or social statements, whatever, through music, and that's allowed because you can't really tell someone what they can put in a song. I mean, you can, like record labels can, whatever, but they can speak on issues that they feel strongly about, and then they will put out the song, not explicitly tell you, sometimes they will, but they won't explicitly tell you, oh, this is about this revolution. Like, no, they won't tell you that.
It will be a hidden meaning in
Correct.
there, and you really need to dissect it in order
and
to
if you
figure it
go
out.
in and you actually look at the lyrics, you'll be like, oh my god, that actually means something.
Welcome to another episode of the Creative Spin Podcast, and today my guest is the one and only Sofia Iria. Yes, there is a correlation with the name here. Yeah, she is my daughter. Hi. How's it going?
I'm so good. How are you?
This is going to be a great conversation. Now it is. It's going to be really fun. We were talking the other day in the car, and we started talking about what it is to be a fan of music. And with that, a lot came up in terms of what fans do, in terms of actually helping bands in social media and other things as well. So, you know, the more we kept on talking, the more I thought, you know, that's going to be a good topic to be on the podcast. So talk a little bit about what it is, in your point of view, what it is to be a fan of music. And, you know, obviously when we say this, you're going to be a fan of certain groups, of certain musicians. What is it that captivates your attention when it comes to being a fan of a group or a singer?
I think when you're a fan of something, right, you could be a fan of genuinely anything. Like, it doesn't have to just be music, right? Yeah. And I think for anything, if you are passionate about something, you're going to want to know things about it and people in that industry. Yeah,
and you were saying one of the things that you were commenting about the other day was the fact that you guys, and when I say you guys, I'm talking about the fans.
You people.
You people. You guys have this bond, really, when it comes to the groups. And it's so interesting when you're talking about how you utilize social media with those people, group of people that support a certain band. Talk to me a little bit about that. Like, where is it? Twitter? What's the social media of choice when it comes to fan base?
Okay, there's a long history with this.
Oh, let's go.
First, I want to say something. Fan is what, like, most people would call us, right? Mm-hmm. But there is a word that's, like, very famously used on the internet, and it's stan, S-T-A-N. It basically just means, like, a super fan of something. The origins are really bad, but we don't claim the origins. The origin was originally stalker fan put together, stan.
I want to talk a bit about that part,
not
but
great.
Not yet.
We don't claim that anymore.
Okay.
But obviously that existed a very long time ago, and the meaning has changed since then. So I would call myself, like, a stan of my favorite artist.
Okay.
And with that comes the different groups on different apps. You can be a fan on any app you want.
Okay.
Now, stan Twitter, very popular. A lot of people are on Twitter now. Tumblr used to be super popular. It's not as popular anymore. Tumblr around 2014, 15, everyone was on Tumblr. Okay. Everyone used Tumblr. Artists used Tumblr. There was just a lot going on Tumblr, but I don't know what happened, but they changed their, like...
The layout?
No, not layout. Their terms and conditions or something, and a lot of people moved to Twitter. I don't really know the correlation. I was 10 in 2014.
Yeah.
But I am a fan of all those bands that were popular on Tumblr, so I can speak on this.
And I just have to say, it was interesting seeing you growing up and the passion that you've always had for music, starting from, like you said, 10 years old. You've always been that kind of all in when it comes to liking a group or liking a singer. And what does music, before we get into the whole fan situation, what does music mean to you? Or has that meaning changed throughout the years?
Well, okay, and I'm glad you brought that up. I don't know how to like things normally. So I always just go like really into everything that I like. And the first thing I was ever a fan of, I was 7 years old. And I remember being a fan. And that was One Direction. That's where this all started.
Yeah.
Obviously, One Direction, a lot happened to them, but they're not together anymore.
Okay.
But I also just like, I don't listen to them as much. I still listen to a couple of their solo careers, which is super interesting because, for example, like someone like Harry Styles,
Yeah.
been in my life since I was 7 years old. I have known who he was more time than I haven't known who he was at this point in my life.
Yeah.
If you think
That's
about
true.
it. Yeah.
If you do the math, yeah.
7 years I didn't know who he was. 11 years I have.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. But music is honestly everything to me. If I'm like, not to be corny, not to be whatever, but
You are
I
definitely
genuinely
music.
don't think I could live without music. I listen to music every single day, and I don't mean that in a weird way. Like I listen to music every single day. I have made friends through music. I have like healed through music. I just love music. It's so fun.
What do you think is the biggest difference between the way you look at music and most people look at music?
I think a lot of people they hear music and they don't really care too much about it. And there's no way of me saying this without sounding incredibly pretentious. And I really don't mean it that way. But when I like listen to music, I really want to feel like what the artist was trying to convey with their music. Not only sonically, but lyrically, like both. I like listening and I literally feel what they are feeling at the time. Even if I've never gone through that experience, there are some of my favorite songs. I'm like, I don't know what you went through, but I can feel it through the music that they're.
Yeah, it's interesting. We were talking about this that day, how you pay a lot of attention to the lyrics and the meaning of the lyrics and the feelings that are going through the lyrics. While I don't think, like, I look at myself, I will listen to songs and to groups, and I like a particular sound, and I don't pay too much attention to the lyrics. I don't think I've ever stopped to listen to a lyric from beginning to end to try to figure out any meaning that's in there. I feel like it's more, does it sound good? Does it make me want to work out, or does it want to make me just relax? I think I tend to go more that way, while you are a little bit more like your mom, where you guys pay a lot more attention. Not a lot more, but you definitely pay attention to the lyrics and to what they mean. Even though you also like the sound of the songs and all of that, right? Because there might be songs that you like the sound and not so much the lyrics.
Yeah, easily.
Okay.
There's a couple songs that I would say the lyrics don't really matter to me because they sound good.
Yeah.
In sonically, like they sound good. But the thing with lyrics is I feel like you can convey so much through a song that you couldn't do any other way, because it's almost subliminal if you think about it. Because a lot of artists that I like will make political statements or social statements, whatever, through music, and that's allowed because you can't really tell someone what they can put in a song. I mean, you can, like record labels can, whatever, but they can speak on issues that they feel strongly about, and then they will put out the song, not explicitly tell you, sometimes they will, but they won't explicitly tell you, oh, this is about this revolution. Like, no, they won't tell you that.
It will be a hidden meaning in
Correct.
there, and you
and
really
then,
need to dissect it in order
and
to
if you
figure it
go
out.
in and you actually look at the lyrics, you'll be like, oh my God, that actually means something. And it sounds great too. So it's just like an interesting way to share opinions, I guess.
Now, I was just thinking about something. Obviously, when a song comes out, not all songs come out with a video. So the song will come out, you will listen to the song, you will picture a video, I guess, in your head. How does it work when you actually see the video of the song that you've listened to for a while?
This is very funny because can I actually tell you how I listen to music for the first time?
Okay.
So most releases happen at midnight, right? And if it's like my favorite artist, I will listen at midnight. Now, first time you listen, I just listen for the sound. Second time, I listen to the lyrics. And then the third time, I just kind of listen to review it, but I will picture things because also I tend to see like colors in music for some reason.
Yeah.
So I will associate things, but the video thing, a lot of songs don't get videos because they're not singles.
Yeah.
So only singles will get videos, the chosen singles that the artists put out, when it's a single, they usually do come out with the video automatically. But when they do it like a single after that they make a music video for, it's so interesting to see the videos because sometimes I will be so wrong about what I think the song sounds like.
Right.
I will be so off about it because I don't know, like it's artistic interpretation. So maybe we don't all see the same thing.
But could that be from the director's side of the video clip?
Of course, it's easily.
And you know this obviously more than I do, do artists have a choice on the direction of the video clip? I think they do.
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
No, a lot of artists will direct their own videos.
Yeah.
And then if they don't, they do come up with concept or ideas which they share with their directors.
Yeah.
And then that's where the video will come
Actually, it's
from.
curious you're saying that. I watched a little documentary the other day about Billie Eilish and the way that she
directs her own videos. Yeah. Yes,
and
I know that.
She was actually saying that it's one of the parts that she actually enjoys a lot now is directing the video. And a lot of what we see in her video clips is really just from her. And then obviously directors and film people just put everything together. But it's interesting to see that these artists are creative enough not only to come up with the music and sing and do all that kind of band or group thing, but they can actually shift that creativity into film, which is really interesting.
Yeah, one of my favorite artists is Taylor Swift. And 2 years ago, she re-released her album Red because of a whole financial thing. You guys can look that up. But she re-released Red, and with the re-release of Red, she released a 10-minute version of her song All Too Well. And she directed a short film for that song, rather. It's like a music video, but it's a short film because it has actors, storyline. It has like all of that because if you're a fan, you'll know the kind of the story that she based it on of her own personal life. Yeah. So it was super interesting to see. I've been a Taylor fan since the original Red, so I've listened to All Too Well many times. So not only listening to 5 brand new minutes of the song, but also seeing how she envisioned the song was super cool because she directed it herself. Oh. And she starred in it at the end as well. But it's just super cool to see because, I don't know, she brought something to life that had been hidden away for so long. And I was just very impressed.
It's interesting. I think, how long was it between the original album and the one now?
So Red was released originally in 2012. Okay, and so it was re-released in 2021.
Oh, 21. Okay, 9 years. I think at that point, 9 years later, she's gone through so much experience, right, in life. 10 years, from personal experience to business experience too. It's interesting. Did that showcase itself in that video?
Yes, for sure. Okay. And this isn't the only...
And were there any subtle little hints in there?
Here's something about Taylor Swift. She doesn't do anything without little hints in it. Everything has little hints in it.
So
always a little Easter egg. But yeah, I've been a fan of her since then, since the original Red. But the first album she recorded was actually Fearless, which came out originally in 2008. And I think the biggest difference with these albums is not only like what she calls the vault songs, which are just songs that she's adding to the album to make it a little different, but her voice has changed drastically. She was 16, 17, 18 in those albums. Now she's 33.
For sure.
Her voice changes a lot.
There's no other way, right?
Yeah.
One of the questions I had was about being a fan nowadays, because you obviously love these artists. You follow them for years and years now. You're passionate about a lot of the artists that you follow. What makes you decide they are worth your full attention? Because I know, being your dad, I know that you have a few artists that you kind of, I was going to say devote, but it's not really the right word.
No, it kind of is.
It kind of
Let's be serious.
Okay.
It kind of is.
But what makes you pick and choose these few lucky ones to be those that you focus on?
Okay.
What are the qualities that they have to, the little check marks that they have to check?
I can't really tell you that because I don't know, but I'll give like a couple examples, right?
So you just spoke about Taylor Swift. So
true. My favorite artist of all time is actually not Taylor Swift. It's 5 Seconds of Summer.
Yeah.
Or Five Sauce. I'm just going to call them Five Sauce from now on, but know that it's 5 Seconds of Summer. Just a shorter name, easier to say. The Sauce, yes. Okay. But yeah, Five Sauce is my favorite artist of all time. I actually can't even explain what they mean to me. There's nothing that I saw in them that made me go, you know what? Yeah, that's going to be my favorite band.
How
from now
long
on.
have you been listening to their
To Five
songs?
Sauce?
Yeah.
I've known about Five Sauce since 2014, but I've been an
Wow.
active fan since I want to say 2000, like late 2018, 19.
And how old were they when you started following them? Like, were they still a young group?
When they started, their big break, I guess, was they actually opened for One Direction. So the youngest member at the time was 15 and the oldest was 17.
Okay, so they
they've
were still pretty young.
They were
yeah.
very young. Now they're all in their 20s. Yeah, since I've been following them, even in the last 4 years I've been following them, they've changed a lot. And something I love about them is none of their albums sound the same, which I know is insane to think about, but I love that. When an artist can change, and maybe their new sound isn't going to be your favorite thing ever, but that's okay because you got the last album. It's not going to go anywhere. Don't you worry about that.
But then being this fan of this group, is it just the music or is it the characters? I call them the characters.
No, it's them. It's them as well. I don't know. They make me very happy, all of them.
So they all have their own different little personality, right?
Of course, yeah. They all have their little, not in like a, oh, management told them to be this way. No, it's not like that. Like, they're just different.
So hold on. From a fan base, you're going to have fans of the group, and then there's sub-fans of each one of these members?
It's definitely different with Five Sauce than it is with One Direction, because One Direction's not together anymore.
Yeah.
So let's exclude that from the narrative. With Five Sauce, most people, now I'm not going to speak for everyone, most people are a fan of the band, the collective, the four of them. Of course, you have favorite members. Everyone has a favorite member. Even if they deny it, they have a favorite member. And maybe it changed over the years. Mine never changed. Since the beginning, Luke's been my favorite member of Five Sauce.
And he's the
Luke
vocalist?
is the lead singer, yes.
Lead singer?
But actually, everyone in Five Sauce sings. So when I say lead singer, he just sings the most.
Okay.
So that's that.
Is he the front man?
Correct.
There you go. Okay.
Actually, I would call him just a lead singer because there really is no front man. They're all very
very
different.
Groups now they're
very different from other bands that I like because they'll actually actively all four do things, which is
interesting.
You don't see that a lot. But Luke and Ashton's the drummer, they have solo albums as well. But they never left the band. The band never broke up. Everything's fine.
Okay.
But they ventured out and they did things on their own as well. And actually, Luke's album is probably my favorite album of all time, to be honest.
How many albums do they have at this point?
As a band?
Yeah.
5.
5.
Well,
that's right on.
5.
Five Sauce, 5.
And
albums.
you want to know what their 5th album's called? Five Sauce 5.
Of course it is. Why wouldn't it be? Now, going back to the fan stuff, and I want to tie this in obviously to social media. Why I found this conversation to be interesting to me, and I'm thinking it's going to be interesting to a lot of people that are within social media and dealing with all of that, is the fact that the fans here play such a huge part in these bands' social media. And I want you to touch a little bit on what you guys do in terms of, I'm not going to say helping them out, but I guess in a way you guys do help them out.
Yeah.
Or at least put the word out. So give me like a little roundup of what fans do for groups.
So I'll give a couple examples. One of my favorite things that people do is listening parties. Mm-hmm. So there will be a lot of accounts that have bigger following because they're called update accounts, which they will just update on anything and everything that the artist will do. So let's take Five Sauce for an example, right? Let's say one of them posted on Instagram. The account will be like, oh, look, this was posted on Instagram in case you didn't see or something. Mm-hmm. So then it will just cause people to go and see certain things. So those accounts are the ones that are most active, especially when there's music release. And what they do is these things called listening parties. They'll get a Spotify or Apple Music or whatever. They'll usually put the playlist on a lot of different streaming services. And it will focus on the song or the album that came out, along with other songs as well. And everyone will listen at the same time. So it will have loads of streams. So we'll help the artist get streams. It just has all of these people in the fandom listening at the same time.
Because at the same time, all of these fans are now publishing it on their own social media.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
people who follow them then get to know the band. Like it kind of like affects it's a bigger wave than just the band on its own trying to do things, right?
And I remember Five Sauce's fifth album came out just last year. I remember they had this little thing with text messages. They would the band, it was like some AI, but the band would send messages and they would call us their street team and they would ask, oh, maybe go hang up some posters with these QR codes that go to this song or whatever. And because we love them so much, we'll do it. Like, they know we'll do it.
Interesting. Cafe Brasiliano, where the coffee is truly amazing, but that's not all they have to offer. Their sandwiches will make your taste buds dance. Every bite is packed with flavor and freshness. Trust me on this one. The vintage style of this place isn't just limited to the decor. They even have a marketplace of quality products that you can browse while you're enjoying your coffee. Perfect to meet your friends or make new ones. Cafe Brasiliano is the perfect place for coffee, sandwiches, and a unique shopping experience. If you're in Toronto, don't forget to swing by at 80 Miller Street. So let me ask you about these update accounts. Is that what you call it?
Yes, they are.
So these are accounts that essentially let the world that follows this particular group know what they're up to in terms of, okay, they've posted something, they've done something, they're performing somewhere. Who actually starts these pages, groups, or whatever you want to call them?
Genuinely, anyone who wants to. Okay. Anyone who cares to devote. These things take a lot of time. I
was just going to say.
Mad respect for these people because I couldn't do it. I have thought about it and I could not do it. I'm good being just like a little fan because I couldn't do it.
Would this start with a whole bunch of people starting fan accounts and then all of a sudden the one that has the most fans turns into an update account? Is that how it kind of
That can
evolves?
happen. That can definitely happen. But most are created already as like intentionally to be update accounts. And then they obviously have different layouts on like visually than a normal fan would have. You can see clearly that they are update accounts. And then of course some update accounts are way more popular than others. So you end up following the big one anyway.
So is it still a number game? You still follow the one that has the most
I think
followers?
So. Because, okay, when it comes to update accounts especially, like the reason I think behind following the big ones is a lot of the big ones actually have intel from the artist's management.
It's all about getting the right intel.
Genuinely, no, but I'm not even kidding. Like some of them have instructions to, go, I don't know, make a big deal about this or go.
I'm guessing that even the actual group management, it's to their own benefit.
Of course, because they're doing that for
these
free.
People know because exactly.
They're doing it for free.
It's free advertising, which kind of blows my mind, but. If you're a fan, you're a fan, right?
Correct.
How does this bleed into other platforms? Let's say like TikTok.
TikTok.
Oh, TikTok. Oh, you have opinions
TikTok
on TikTok.
fans. Here's the thing. If you ask any fan that has a Twitter account if they like TikTok fans, they will say no. Now, let me tell you something. I actually have both. So I got both. And I can confidently tell you that TikTok fans are often off the rails, but it's okay. They're often younger. They're often younger. I will say this. They're often younger.
Okay.
So, when you're like 14, you don't know everything and you think you do. It's okay. I was there. And you kind of just start saying things that end up being insane. And people are like, why would you say that? And it just spirals. And then you get reposted to Twitter. And Lord, if you get reposted to Twitter from TikTok, I pray for you. I'm sorry.
But okay, so do you think it's more of a demographic reason that there's such a difference because TikTok is probably geared more towards a younger demographic, and then Twitter, because it's been around for a while, kind of has this tendency of going into a more of a more adult, like late teen to adult?
Honestly, it is that, but it's also just a mixture of them on TikTok. I don't even know how to explain it, but a lot of bad has come from TikTok when it comes to just fan culture in music specifically.
Why do you think TikTok is not a good idea for the music industry?
So what happens on TikTok is usually one song will blow up a lot and people will start using it and it'll become a huge thing and people don't actually know who the hell is singing. Like people will just listen to it and be like, "Oh, of course I love that artist. I know this one song that's super popular on TikTok." But the problem, I don't care if you only know one song. Don't care. But then don't call yourself a huge fan of something if you aren't.
Okay,
And
so
then-
so your issue is more like people just fixating themselves into that one particular song rather than the artist itself.
But it's not just the one song, it is the artist, because what happens is these like these huge group of people that weren't there before all of a sudden want to go to this artist's concerts.
Okay.
They invade they buy everything that the artist had, blah blah blah, like things
That's
like
good
that.
for the artist then.
Of course. However, as a fan, I'm talking as a fan,
Okay.
watching certain
You feel like you've been invaded? Is that
No,
what
it's
it
not
is?
just that. It's just watching certain artists' ticket prices go from $50 to $150 in a month is insane. And why are you paying that much? You know what I mean?
It's interesting you're saying it in this perspective because I never thought about it that way from a fan's perspective, because what you're saying right now is amazing for the artist. And
Oh, it's
And we
incredible.
know that a lot of artists have been found not only on TikTok. I mean, you can go back to
Vine, Shawn Mendes.
Vine and all of that. So artists have definitely been able to come out to the world and make their music known because of these apps, where if it was 20, 30 years ago, they would have no chance.
Radio stations.
So in that sense, I actually have to say that these apps, these platforms, these social media in general has been really good for artists.
I fully agree with you. And this is where I need to explain myself further.
So you need to put
I need to explain myself
difference
further.
here.
I fully agree with you. They are getting a lot of traction from these apps, and that's perfectly fine. My favorite band started on YouTube. Five Sauce started posting covers on YouTube. That's how they got popular. So I got no issue with you starting on social media. Zero. Here's my issue. There's two things to this. Number one, since we were talking about concerts, I will go with that. Two artists that I like. First one is Harry Styles. Everyone knows who Harry Styles is, especially now.
Yes.
When he released his first album, it was literally just the people that were fans of One Direction that liked him. But of course, he got bigger. Then with Fine Line, which was the second album, things really exploded from there. And what happens is people want to go to his concerts simply to say they went to a Harry Styles concert. And just last year, at the end of last year, he did a couple of residency shows in the US. And the worst ones were New York, Madison Square Garden, 15 nights in a row.
Yeah.
And Los Angeles, he played the Forum, which is a huge venue, and he also played it 15 nights. Now, the first nights, everything's great. Then the other ones, you kind of see not only the same faces at the barricade every single time, but you also see just a sea of people that don't know what the hell is going on.
How do you know that?
Because I see videos.
Okay.
On TikTok, he has a song called Keep Driving, and there's a bridge. The bridge in Keep Driving is like insane, and it just goes really fast. So sometimes people will record themselves singing at him, kind of. And I see in the back people that are just standing.
So your big issue with this,
My big issue is that the artist is going to look out into this crowd and think no one knows his music.
okay, so you're I guess I can call you a purist when it comes to being a fan. You would like to, the perfect venue for you would be everybody, especially in the front rows, to be able to be super fans in terms of being able to sing every single song and actually look like they're enjoying themselves.
I just think you should give the artist the energy that they're giving you. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to like gatekeep, especially like Harry Styles. I'm really not.
It kind of sounds like
I
that.
know it does. And I'm known to gatekeep. I only gatekeep a couple things, okay? But I'm not trying to do that at all. If you want to go to a concert, you don't know all the songs,
But
you
hold
like
on.
live music, go ahead.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate a little bit with you now, because let's say, as an example, I heard a couple of Harry Styles songs and I actually liked them. And I decided, you know what? The opportunity came. I'm able to go and buy a couple of tickets and I go watch his show because I want to learn more about the artist. I don't know much about him. I only know a couple of songs, but I'm going there to, let's say, quote unquote, educate myself a little bit more about Harry Styles.
I got no
Now,
issue with
you
you.
look at me, I won't be singing because I don't know the lyrics, but you're going to be judging me.
No, I won't. And I'll tell you why. Because you can tell the people that are there just to say that they're there because they got their phones out recording. No one can see over their phone because it's over everyone's head.
That's another issue altogether, yeah.
And they will be rude. They will push you. They will just stand there and not do anything. I just think, first, don't judge the people that are having a good time. If I'm jumping, dancing, singing, screaming my favorite songs, don't tell me I ruined your video. Like, that's my favorite song. I'm going to be yelling.
Yeah.
2, let people live. You know what I mean? It's not that big of a deal. I really don't care if you're not a huge fan. What I was saying, I've gone to concerts where I don't know all the lyrics.
Okay, I understand where you're coming from, but again, gonna play a little bit of devil's advocate. I think from an artist's perspective, they honestly, I think they're in the business to make money as well. And when they see themselves and their fan group expand and they can now go into bigger venues, I think for an artist that's the way that they want to go. They got into it. Yeah, they love music, but they wanna actually grow as an artist, and that's essentially gonna happen. There's nothing
Of course.
a true fan is gonna do about that. Not everybody's gonna be a crazy, and we're gonna go into that word crazy fan. I had it in my head, that's why I said it. A crazy fan.
I fully agree
Right?
with you. And it's not for everyone. Listen, if people can like things at a normal amount, I wish I was you. I'm not you though. So I'm going to be doing all this. And you know what? I love this. So I'm not like, whatever. I like being like this.
Okay, and I said crazy because I had it in my head, and the reason why I had
like
it in my head was
everyone
I
else.
was thinking about how a lot of fans of music are seen as the crazy fan, as the stalker fan, as the, I don't know what other adjectives I can use here, but usually there's it's a negative connotation to the word when it comes to a fan of music. But then you don't see that when we're looking at a fan that loves sports.
Right.
And I know you have 2 cents to say about this, and we've actually spoken about this correlation between music and sports. Let us know exactly what your views are on a music fan and a sports fan, and why you have a little bit of an issue.
Artists who have predominantly female fan bases, not only the artist, but the fans get hated on way more than any other group of fans. And
Why
I
do
can
you think
confirm
that
this.
happens, though?
Sexism? I really don't know, because most of the artists that I like have very much like female fan bases for whatever
but those
reason.
are the groups that you like, but in general, I think there are certain groups.
Well, that's why I was
have
just saying that
male fans, and in a weird way, there's still a little bit of that going on.
of course. Yeah. No, I know. I was just what I meant to say by that was an artist that has like a lot of, especially teenage girls liking them, they just don't get taken as seriously in the music industry. And a perfect example is my favorite band. Five Sauce is not a boy band. They play instruments on stage. They have a lead singer. They have a guitar. They have a bass. They have a drummer. They write their own music. They do not dance. They have never danced in their life. But people call them a boy band. Why?
Yeah.
Because they're guys in a band with teenage girls who like them.
I guess that's part of the requirement.
Right,
to be
but
called
they're not a boy band.
But I understand.
Compare
you, like,
them to NSYNC, and you got two different bands. Like, I don't understand the correlation.
True, correct. But so your issue is that people have a negative view on what it is to be a fan of music, and then when you compare that to a sports fan, you see huge similarities, but then in terms of how fans are, but you don't see the same thing when it comes to the reaction of that.
Yeah. So if you saw me or any other just like teenage girl at a concert, front row, let's say, right in front of the artist that they love so dearly, singing their favorite song, and she's crying, right? Your immediate reaction, if you're not a fan or you I don't know, just like immediate judgment would be, that girl's crazy. She's insane. Like, why is she doing all that? There's someone singing on stage and she's crying, right? A sports fan will go, I'm not trying to attack a specific sport right now, but I'm just going to use soccer as an example because I don't watch sports, but I did watch the World Cup last year. So here we are. A soccer fan will be in the crowd, favorite team's jersey on, face painted the color of their team, screaming, yelling at the top of their lungs for their favorite player to kick the ball.
And crying.
But actively getting mad. Yeah. Not to whatever, but it's known that violence rates go up when certain teams lose. 100%, right?
Yeah.
But that's dedication. That's dedication. They're normal. They're normal people who get dedicated.
Okay, you see, here's Dad being devil's advocate again. Yeah, I do understand your point of view. It's probably more accepted. And
it is definitely more accepted.
Air quotes here. But, you know, other people, other groups might look at that and say that's kind of crazy. That's a little bit too much. Because we do see the fans.
It's two extremes.
Yeah, we do see the fans that just go to watch the game and they don't do any of the extra stuff. So, and I think
my issue with this is, so of course I'm not saying every like fangirl, whatever, is innocent. There are crazy people everywhere. There are stalkers. There are people who invade people's privacy.
Yeah, but you have that on sports as well.
No, that's what I mean. Of course, there's fans like me like that. And I do not claim those people. That is not, never do that to anyone. Don't go stalking people. That's wrong.
Yeah.
But that extreme, I would say, is the same extreme as those fans in a game who would get super riled up, super angry, just hella mad at things going back and forth.
You see the sports fan being more accepted than
I do, because of course people think, oh, that's crazy, right? But it's normalized. It's completely fine. People will throw parades when their teams win, right?
Yeah.
The Raptors did that a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I've never done anything like that for my favorite band. You know what I mean? And I remember
But you would if Five Sauce came to town and they said, we're gonna parade down Yonge Street.
Sure. But wouldn't you think I was insane for that?
No, I would say you would go support your band.
Because you know me.
No, I think most people would.
All right. I'm talking in my own experience. I'm talking genuinely, I'm talking in my own experience. When I was younger, because as I was saying, like I've been a fan of these things for a very long time. When I was younger, I was super made fun of for liking music. Super made fun of, to the point where I stopped talking about my favorite artists because it just wasn't worth it.
Because you weren't going along with the popular band.
That's the thing. They were super popular. They were super popular, but people thought it was cringy. People thought it was weird.
But listen, I think it's a generational thing. I think it comes with age. Every generation has their own type of music, their own type of groups, and you're always going to have the different groups. I remember when I was growing up, I used to love listening to Metallica and Pearl Jam and all of this stuff. But the moment you said and you went to see a concert, a Metallica concert, you would be also, you'd get a stamp of you're a metalhead and you do drugs and you're a terrible person and you have to have your body covered on tattoos.
People
and all
just
of that.
make assumptions over your favorite things.
These assumptions have always existed, and I think you'll always see these things exist, and you're kind of proof of that. You're a lot younger, but you know what you like and the groups that you like. Yeah, there's gonna be people that love them, hate them, people that don't care.
Yeah,
I think
I got no issue with that, though.
It's a generational thing. Yeah, I feel like
genuinely, I don't have an issue.
What I feel that is very different nowadays than it was before is that the amount of how loud the groups can be in terms of fans, their voices can be projected now onto social media, and it essentially can reach a ton more people than when I was growing up, where, if five guys went to a concert, we would probably go to school the next Monday and brag about it to the 30 other people that we had around us, and it would kind of die off right there. While you, as an example, can post something about Five Sauce in one of those update groups, and then all of a sudden, how many people are following those groups, as an example?
400K sometimes.
Okay, so close to 500,000 people. That's a lot of people. But that's my point. Nowadays, I think that for me is the biggest difference that I see is how loud you can be in terms of spreading the message and getting your point across, right?
Yeah, and something that's super cool is the friends that you kind of make along the way. And friends that you don't know in person, like people that you've only talked to online, but you've developed a connection with because you like the same artist.
Yeah.
In June of last year, I went to Vancouver to see 5 Seconds of Summer. And I am from Toronto. I didn't know anyone there, but I did know these two girls that I met on Twitter. And I went and we lined up together for the show, and we were there for the whole time. Yeah. And I literally met those people online. Never met them in real life until that moment.
And this is another generational issue, and not issue, but difference that I see is the fact that your generation, the younger generation, when I say younger, it's compared to myself, my old gray hair guy here. That's the truth, though. If you think about it, a lot of the people in my generation, I'm 46, like I'm your dad. A lot of people in my position, my age group, might not understand how do you call friends someone that you've just, texted back and forth on a Twitter thread. It doesn't make sense. But I kind of understand that because, again, I've been into social media for quite a while, and I've gone through what you were just saying. I've met people online that I actually ended up meeting in real life, and I still keep connections to nowadays. So I do understand that. And to those that are still doubting that you can have friends online, I think you can have friends. There's another community that I know it's a little bit off topic, but the gaming community is another community that you make friends online through games, and people meet at that certain time to play the games together and do all of that. What's so different than meeting at Joey's house and playing games there? You know what I mean?
No, you're right.
Or like you listening to music in Mary's home or at Mary's home, or listening together through an app. Like, it's the same situation. It's just we need to evolve. We need to understand that these things are different nowadays, and you just got to learn to live with it.
And the thing is, people tend to gravitate towards people who like the same things.
Yeah.
Even in real life. I'm talking in real life as well. If none of your friends like the things that you like, who are you supposed to talk to about certain things?
Yeah.
And that was actually my case for a large point of my life, was nobody knew.
It's much easier to find that niche that you like, right?
And the thing is, sure, let's use Twitter as an example. I could have met someone on Twitter, but then we got closer. So then, here's my Instagram. Here's my whatever. Yeah. And then we start talking.
Kind of evolves.
Correct.
But just the same way.
As a regular friendship.
As a regular friendship. You're not going to invite... You meet someone.
You're not going to
invite them to your place.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, some people do, but we're not going to talk about that. But in the normal life situation,
anyway,
you wouldn't just find someone on the street or at a cafe, have a coffee, and say, "Oh, you want to go to my place and just watch a movie?" You're not going to do that. You need time and get to know the person and all of that. Same thing as online. And I know that a lot of parents might be watching this that have kids that are your age or even younger, and that are extremely afraid of what can happen. There are all these predators and all these situations. And yes, that is also true. But the same thing applies to real life. And when I say real life, I kind of hate saying it because...
But it is what it is.
Everything is real life.
But when I say
real life is in
face
a day-to-day, face-to-face, you're going to encounter creeps as well.
Yeah.
Or more. Or even, unfortunately, as we've seen here in Toronto, it's been crazy when it comes to violence and violence. So when it comes to your son or your daughter being online, following groups that are a part of the gaming community that they're a part of, or the groups that they like to listen to, let them go in and have fun and talk about what they like, because from your perspective, we've never really told you you can't be a part of this, you can't be a part of that, unless the most I think we've told you is like, be very careful because of these predators that sometimes do go and try to befriend you by pretending to be a fan of the group or a fan of what you're doing, because then they have second intentions. So I think it's best practice for a parent to sit down with the child and say, listen, I don't mind you doing all of this, but be aware that this and this and this can happen. I think that's a much better conversation than telling the child, no, you can't be onto it. No, you can't be on TikTok. No, you can't.
Yeah.
I think restricting things, then it becomes like something that,
then
now
you want to do it.
then you want to do it. I mean, we've all been teenagers. You know what happens when somebody says you can't do that? Now
you go
you
and
really
do it.
want to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been online like this since I was 15.
Yeah.
And
we were more
it's listen, and I'm so serious when I say this. I was 15 when this happened. Don't go into like online when you're 15 unless it's a fan group that's just so clearly younger. A lot of YouTubers have younger fandoms. That's fine, whatever, go ahead. But I wouldn't recommend Twitter for young fans. I wouldn't recommend Tumblr for young fans. Just go on TikTok, go on Instagram. You'll be fine. Don't worry. Like those are okay.
Yeah.
And then once you are older, 16 and above, usually.
Yeah.
Maybe go on Twitter if you want, if you really want.
I would say, from a parent's perspective, if you want to allow your kids to be on social, following these groups and all of that, just keep an eye on. And that has to be, I'm sorry, but it has to be something that as a parent you need to look out for. Just the same way as you won't just let your kid out on the street, past midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning when they're like 13, 14. Same thing goes on.
Yeah, like I'm older
Twitter.
now. I'm 18. Like it's fine. And also I've seen so much that I can kind of tell who is fake and who isn't.
Yeah.
But before you like learn how to tell that, just be careful is all I have to say. Because I've seen a lot of younger fans just get into things and I'm like, this could have been so easily avoidable. Like it really was easily avoidable. And I'm like, okay, now we got this whole thing going on. And it was literally because you're 14 and you don't know what you're saying. But, that's life.
Well, I want to thank you so much for being in this podcast. I think unless you have something else that you want to bring up, is there another topic you would want to bring up? I'm kind of trying to cut this short already, but
no,
I mean, let's continue the conversation.
Good.
You're good, right?
I'm good.
I'm just saying this because we kind of went through the topics before, and I think we kind of went through all of them.
Yeah, no, I think my main message here is just, you know what? If someone likes something, if it's not harming them,
it's healthy.
Just let them do it. Just let them live their life. Because me liking a band didn't hurt anyone. I'll be okay. And so will you. It's fine.
So
life moves on.
It not only it does not hurt anybody. I think it's a healthy thing to like something and to be able to have that common thread, to be able to talk to people that like music as well. As this example, I know you and your mom talk for like hours when it comes to music.
Yeah.
I'm a listener of music. I'm not so much a debater of music. I don't get into the nitty-gritty.
I just think you didn't have like an artist impact your life like that. Which is fine. I'm not saying that in like a bad way. I'm saying you
always found it weird that I do,
but it's mainly because then like I just don't know what to say.
I don't have a
favorite anything.
Favorite group or favorite singer or favorite genre.
But see, a lot of people don't.
I do have a tendency to go into the hard rock, probably a little bit metal, but I love indie as well, and I like jazz. So I'm like all over the map. I like jazz? A lot of the artists that you like. Mm-hmm. So it's
but see, like mom is super U2. She's like, U2's my favorite band, and I'm like that with Five Sauce. Yeah. But the difference between me and her is I like a variety of music outside of Five Sauce, where she is more.
She's U2.
Correct, and and she'll listen to things that sound like U2.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm
Not that
sure,
I don't sound like things that sound like Five Sauce, but
yeah, and your mom, she actually likes Five Sauce, right?
she does. She actually does.
And
Genuinely.
she knows the songs.
She does.
And she surprises
Her
the kids in
favorite
school.
song is Valentine, which is so random. I don't know if anyone listening knows that song, but
so Anna goes. She's a high school teacher, and when she starts talking to her students about Five Sauce, there's obviously a big surprise from the student side because they would never connect. Why does this teacher? How does she know about Five Sauce?
they'll play
But I
like
guess-
random songs, and she's like, ah. And it's like, no, that's literally just the music I play on a daily.
That's how you become the favorite teacher.
Of course.
But okay, I mean, thank you so much for being here. First time on a podcast.
Yeah,
How did you like it?
it's good.
It's good.
10 out of 10.
I honestly think she should start her own podcast about music. If you agree with me, comment below. I think she would do it.
Radio silence. There's like nothing. No one cares.
Of course, you do care. Please comment because I think you would do amazing with the podcast. You obviously love this stuff.
You guys
when it
can
comes to
follow
music.
my TikTok. I
What's your
post.
TikTok? We'll put it over here somewhere.
Yeah, it'll be somewhere. But
It'll be here.
I post some silly videos about my favorite artists, not just Five Sauce, other ones. But yeah, I like music, so that's what you'll find there.
All right. And for the 5 of you that are watching and listening to us, thank you so much. We'll be here next week.
Bye guys.